Ok, no hay que llorar, que la vida es un carnaval y las penas se van cantando. No hay que llorar, que la vida es un carnaval y las penas se van cantando. Buenas noches a todas y a todos. Esta es una noche muy, muy, muy especial y damos la bienvenida en el estudio a Anaïs Senjon. Welcome, Anaïs. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I am so good, so happy to have you here. So we are ready to have fun, to have a great conversation, speak about your life, your career, your music, and so many other things. So are you ready?
I'm ready. Then thank you for having me. How exciting.
Oh, it's such a nice moment. We have a trip planned that didn't happen because of the COVID. So yes, we are making it happen in a way. So here we are, ready.
That's
in a way.
Right.
So, first question for tonight. How is your life during the quarantine? How have you been getting along, doing things, etc.? Let me know. How is your...
Thank you for asking. That's a very good question. I don't know if many people know this, but in addition to being a jazz singer, I'm also a school teacher. I'm the music teacher at Trinity Episcopal School here in New Orleans for first grade through eighth grade. So of course, as a teacher, we've been going through a very big transition to online teaching. And my school has stepped up for sure. We didn't know this would happen, but we were prepared and we were able to make the transition. So all of our students have online classes 5 days a week. We have a schedule. I meet with my students on Fridays, but every other day we are preparing and planning. And it's been challenging for sure, but we're making the best out of this situation.
Were you an expert on Zoom and video editing before?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'd never even heard of Zoom. I've never even heard of Google Meet. Never done that before, but these systems were pretty easy to navigate once we got the hang of it. As a music teacher, I had to figure out how I was going to continue working with my kids and continue the work we had already started. A lot of work had been done into doing concerts, and I didn't want to let that go. So I decided that we were going to do a system where the kids would record themselves singing on GarageBand, send me their vocals, and then I would layer them into some choral works and produce music videos for them, kid music videos, for some of the concerts we were already preparing to do. And that was, it was ambitious. It has been ambitious. It's been a lot of work. But our last week of school is next week. And the end product is going to be so fulfilling for them to see. And I can't wait to show it to them, what I've come up with and what my team has come up with.
Yeah, it's very ambitious. And every time a choir teacher decides to do that, when it gets to the part of editing videos, it discovers that it's like a crazy, crazy job. So let me know, how is it going? Is it ready?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, you have to understand we're dealing with elementary and middle school students. So a lot of these videos you've been seeing coming out with the choirs, with the professional multi-screen, those are done by young adults and maybe college students or professionals. So my method is not like that. I'm piecing together voices and doing a lot of editing. And no, I have no experience in editing, but what I do have is an ear. And I had a basic, before going to COVID, a basic knowledge of GarageBand, because I used it for my own purposes for my music. So, but this has been to add in 30 voices to a track and to cut out and to cut in and to make them line up. It's been very challenging, but very rewarding in the sense that I've gotten to know the kids in a way I never could. Where in a choir, you're hiding behind other voices. I'm hearing everybody's voices. I'm like, wait, this kid has a beautiful voice. I didn't know he could sing. It was like, it's been very rewarding. And not only that, but it's a connection to them because obviously, I'm not seeing them.
More personal way.
They're not seeing me, but I'm hearing their voice, and it's been lovely to have that connection.
Good. And how is do you get to do some meeting like Google Meet? I do. And how do you get their attention? Do you do crazy things or?
Of course. course. Do you know me? I dress in costumes. I wear wigs.
Really?
Yeah. Well, for my lower school students, for first through fourth grade, we're doing a concert for 70s music. So for every song I dress in a different 70s outfit. I wear the Afro wig, and I try to make it fun and interesting. Another thing I did from my fifth grade music class, because you have to understand, when COVID hit, that was going to be my first class with them. So I hadn't even seen them. So what I decided to do was, of course, we did a vocal exercise where we did a choir song. And then I also got them to do rhythmic patterns on a bucket, so percussion. And I asked them to all go find their mom's mop buckets and some spoons. So we were beating on drums. I'm sure their parents are hating me right now, but
loved you.
They hated me, but the kids loved it. So we were bump, okay, bump, ba-dum, ba-dum, bump, 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 ba-dum, beating on buckets. My husband made fun of me. He's like, "Are you going crazy? You're beating on a bucket." Okay.
Sounds great. And I also saw that you, as an actual singer and loving live performing and everything, I guess it's kind of hard not to have that. So you invented your Saturday show on Facebook. Let me know about that. It's so beautiful. I've seen some of it.
Let you know how that started. Do you remember at the beginning of our COVID experience, when there was a video circulating of the citizens in Italy singing from their balconies?
Yeah.
And that video got around. So one of my neighbors said, "Anaïs, wouldn't it be cool if we could do that in our neighborhood?" And I said, "Yes, that will be cool." Of course, it's not the same thing, because in Italy you have houses facing each other. So you could actually, and they're very close. But I love the idea. So my neighbor, Bella Bedorta, came up with the idea of doing a neighborhood sing-along. So we put together some songs, and it was a cappella, and I was to lead the songs from my porch. And I did that. We put the words on our Facebook site, and I sang a cappella, just songs of inspiration, Lean on Me, Down to the River to Pray. And that was the first time I did it. And after that, I was like, this was kind of fun. I think I could do this, but do my own thing. And I have a piano in the front of my house, and I guess, which is my library/music room, which I really never utilized before. So I called my dear friend Harry Marone, who's one of my pianists, who lives in the French Quarter. Now, if you know New Orleans, I live on the West Bank. I live in Algiers Point. So you have the Mississippi River, and you have on one side the French Quarter, which is the oldest neighborhood in the country. And then on the other side, you have Algiers Point. So Harry could ride his bike from his house, catch the ferry over the river for 5 minutes, come to my house, and then we push my piano. Thank God it's on rollers.
Every Saturday.
We roll it every Saturday out, and every Saturday we do a different theme. I think the first show we did was Quarantina Turner. So songs from
Quarantina Turner.
Quarantina Turner. So
I love the title. Okay.
It was at that point, we just, the two of us, we did shows. We do 1 hour, 4:00 every Saturday. And we asked for donations, and it was successful. And every week we do a different theme to keep it fresh.
I saw there was one of Greece.
That was last week. Like I said, I've been a huge Grease fan forever, and I've always wanted to do a Grease show. And so I was like, we got to do Grease. We actually pushed it off for a long time, but I was like, we got to do Grease. So I finally got my Grease show, and it was really fun.
I know. I saw. I was impressed. I was not.
But the only part, I wish you were there, because I had to do the duets by myself. The tell me more, did you get very far?
Summer loving, we can do it now. Summer loving happens so fast.
Summer loving had me a blast.
I met a girl crazy for me.
Met a boy cute as can be. Okay, that's enough. You started the key real high. I'm an alto, right? Bring it down, Aquiles. Bring the key. Aquiles, you're a bass baritone. Why'd you start so high?
Okay. Summer loving happens so fast.
Okay, that's really low. Summer loving had me a blast.
I met a girl cool as can be.
Met a boy crazy for me.
La, la, la. Ooh, beautiful. Let's go and watch our first video for today. We have some things prepared, so let's go and watch that. Yeah.
Last dance for love. This is my last chance for romance tonight. I need you by me, beside me, to guide me, to hold me, to scold me. 'Cause when I'm bad, I'm so bad. So let's dance, let's
Okay, beautiful. So
Thank
much
you.
fun. It's so much fun. I love it.
Thank you, Aquiles. Well, you know, I like to do these one-woman shows. I have a bunch, a collection of one-woman shows that I've done. I mean, call them one-woman shows, call them cabaret shows. Cabaret, you know, it's a lot of people don't know what cabaret is, and I mean, basically, cabaret is finding a connection to a story or a person, and being able to tell that story through music and song, and making a personal connection to your audience, and hopefully they're coming out tapping their feet, and maybe they might even learn something about the subject matter that you presented, and come out with a full heart. You know, that's what cabaret is.
So I wanted to ask you about this. How did you first discover that you loved to connect with the audience in this way, like playing and being kind of free and making people feel like what's happening, like all of your persona? You've worked on that, I'm sure. So how did you create that, and how did you discover that?
That is a very good question. I never thought about that before. Because I mean, I've always sung, and I've never not been on stage in some way, shape, or form. But I suppose that I started finding my own. I want to maybe call it finding my personality. I think maybe in college, when I started singing opera, because for me, becoming a character when you are singing an aria or an art song, you have to dig really deep inside yourself, and you put yourself out there in such an intimate way. I mean, that was the beginning. And yes, I was masking it behind a song or a character, but really it was me, because I was putting myself totally into that. But it was in a very structured form in opera. Once I got out of opera and started doing more jazz and more musical theater, when I started basically doing my own thing, when I had my own show, I had the freedom to really play around with what is it about a song, or what is it about a performance or person that makes it special? What is it? Is it a big, beautiful voice? Yeah, maybe.
Helps.
Is it a great band and a great, yes, for sure. Is it this flawless diction and the language? Yeah, maybe. Or is it the ability to look into someone's eyes and sing to them? And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's about looking into someone's eyes and being able to sing.
Tell them something.
Tell them something. And if you can't, I feel like if you can't do that, then I think you're missing out on a really unique experience as a performer. I mean, I don't care how great your voice is, how high your range is, how low your range is. I don't care how many languages you can sing in. If you cannot look into someone's eyes and sing to them, then what's the point, you know?
Oh my God, this is like a big secret of your
And I think that
success.
every singer should try it. Have you ever tried it, Aquiles?
Well, I always try to go to the emotion with
It's
to go there, because I think there's where things happen. Cheers.
Oh, cheers, darling.
Cheers. Woo! For everyone there also. So we have some people saying hi. Okay. Claudia Perez.
Claudia.
Saludos, amigo. Hermosa voz la de Anaïs. Beautiful voice.
Hello, Claudia Perez.
Vanessa Soberanes is giving love, a lot of love. Look at that.
Hello,
and she's
Vanessa.
saying, invite to your party. Welcome. Here we are. Here we are.
You're invited.
Hugs to both from Lenny. It's
Lenny's birthday. Hug.
Lenny's birthday actually today. Happy birthday.
Oh, we have to sing happy birthday to her. Or you
do it.
I mean, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
Lenny.
Happy birthday to you. Tell me you had those high notes. Is it the wine?
It's a wine. No, it's not the wine. Come on. Okay. What a funny. It was a pleasure to hear of you both sing Grease. It's a lot of fun, of course. I love it. Cheers with tequila. Well, tequila is good. Tequila is good. And hi to Arlette Moranes, one of my former students. Hola, Arlette. Yo te extraño también. She played actually on one of our concerts. She played sax on the first time you came to Mexico. Yeah, she was there.
My father was a very famous alto saxophonist, Marion Brown. So thank you for that.
Let me know about your starting with music. How did it happen? Like,
church.
When did you begin singing? Church.
I started singing in church. I am Catholic, and I went to Catholic school. So I think I can remember maybe either second grade or third grade. I think second grade, I had a solo for my first communion.
Okay.
You know, when you make your first communion, I had a solo, and
that
was the beginning. And I was not nervous. I just sang my solo, and then I just wanted to keep singing. Anytime anybody needed a singer, I raised my hand. And then I joined my church choir. There was an adult choir. I went to Carpus Christi Church, and I asked them. I said, "Please, can you let me join the choir?" I think they let me join the choir when I was in the 3rd or 4th grade, and that was the best. That was the beginning of my training. I had the best choir director. Her name is Jennifer Broyard, and she had the smokiest alto voice ever. But it was for me, singing Easter Sunday service, Christmas service, my mom would put my hair in curls, get all dressed up, and we would sing these beautiful songs. And that to me that was my first exposure to music in school and in church, Catholic music, of course, church music. And we went to a Black Catholic church, so it was a lot of gospel. So my first exposure to music was either the traditional Catholic, like "The Lord is my shepherd, my shield and my dada," very traditional. But then there was also gospel, Black Catholic gospel music. So you got to hear the heroes, 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 heroes from the dead. So I got the gospel experience, which is a huge part of my musical heritage, because
I
Gospel
know.
music, come on.
And that's where we connected for starting working together. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that also.
So from there, just to keep
Yeah.
going on the timeline, of course, in high school, I didn't know how to read music, or I didn't study that until I got to high school. And then more so when I decided to major in music in college. And I remember the moment when I told my mother that I said, Mom, I want to major in music. And she said, I mean, don't you want to make any money? Don't you want to be a lawyer, a doctor? I said, well, no, this is what I love. This is what I want to do. She said, okay, go for it. So that's when I really started formal training, music theory, piano, diction, languages. And I had no idea that when you majored in music that you studied opera. I didn't know anything about opera until I got to Xavier University. But once I heard Leontine Price, I caught the bus to go to school, and I would listen to Leontine Price. And I guess people around me thought I was crazy because I'm going, yeah, I'm singing opera on the bus, and they're like, what is wrong with her? She's got some issues. But anyway, so I studied opera, and I graduated from Xavier undergrad. And then I went to UNO, University of New Orleans, and got my master's in opera, sang opera for a while, and then decided to turn over to the dark side, jazz.
I love it. I love it. And so, about what you were saying before, about going directly into someone's soul through the eyes and watching, the first time I met Anaïs, we were in Italy, Sartiano, and during dinner, suddenly she starts looking everybody into their eyes, and I was like, oh my God, what is she doing? Look at this, please. Vamos, Joshua, siguiente video.
That was a very unique experience, wasn't it, Aquiles?
I love it, but especially
that was not the first time you and I met.
That was the last time.
That was the most current, but that was very special. Are we back?
We had a little bit. You were losing you, but you're back. You're back. I think you're good. You're good.
You know what was very special about that was because of this Sartiano experience. I mean, that's how we met, right?
That's where we met. We were studying choral conducting, and it was a very serious place to study, even if we were friends and we had a lot of fun during dinner. But the rehearsals were very, very strict. Intense. We had our intense also. But during the first time I met Anaïs, suddenly during dinner, she started singing like that, and all of the groups began singing along, and we had such wonderful moments of choral music during dinner. It was beautiful, and
it was different from what we were doing. We were 6 hours a day singing classical sacred music, correct?
Yeah.
So after dinner, at Nadia's and Felice's, we'd have a wonderful dinner, maybe a couple of glasses of wine, and we break out in some blues, right?
Yeah, it was such a wonderful time, and there's where we started talking about doing something together and making music together, because we had different jobs that could be made to work together. Like she would be the soloist, and I would have my chorus. And
Aquiles, I'll never forget the first. What year did we meet? What year was that in Sartiano?
I think it
2004
was 2015. I think.
something. Anyway, 15. But I remember you saying, Anaïs, one day we are going to collaborate. One day I would love for you to come to Mexico City and sing with my choir. And I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. You know, that'll definitely happen. And I think this is before Facebook. You know, and at some point, when, I don't know what year Facebook came out, but I got a message from you, and you said, "Are you still interested in doing collaboration?" And I said, "Oh, yes. Can you make this happen?" And you did, and I'm ever grateful for that. Because you know what, you made good on your word, and not many people.
And it was such a wonderful experience for everybody. We had really so much fun with the choir, and it was so much fun on stage. I want to remind everybody of this moment where I played the piano and you sang, and it's wonderful. Let's just watch it. I've seen some people from Sartiano watching the show now. It's
Who's
beautiful.
watching? Let's give shout out.
Dana Sheridan, she just
Hey,
gave
Dana.
a like. And so,
in.
also we have some comments. Nicole Herrera is saying you're a very talented singer. Of course you are.
Nikki. Hey, Nikki.
Vanessa is saying, what a beautiful happy birthday. It really was.
Thank
you. We have a question for you from Rosario Salazar. What do you do 5 minutes before you start the show?
Fix my hair.
Okay.
Like I did today. I was like, look at this, roots. No, I 5 minutes before the show, no, seriously, in all seriousness, it depends on the show. If it's one of my big shows, I'm reviewing lines. If it's one of my easy shows, I am making sure everything is right? Because I do have a team. I have Marco St. John, my husband. But other than that, like, I don't have a staff to help me. I have my friends who are there to help. But if it's the show like what we do on Saturdays, we're lugging equipment, we're putting everything together. But mostly I just fix my hair and have a cocktail.
Cocktail. Cheers. One more time.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh. Okay. So now we're talking about traveling with music because of having concerts or because you are going to study somewhere else. Let me know some of your biggest experiences traveling with music.
This is a very good question. I have had the privilege of singing in several international jazz festivals. One is Jazz Ascona, which is in Ascona, Switzerland. I played there twice. An incredible, top-notch jazz fest. I have been singing there. It's a 7-day festival. Maybe it's 10 days. But you are performing every day in different venues along this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lake. And some days you're in a restaurant. Maybe you're on the main street. But such an incredible opportunity to see the European community. And
how was the reaction?
I got to see other people, some of my idols, like Gregory Porter and all of these, I got to see so many musicians. When you're not working, you get to go to other shows. But the other one that was top notch on my list, I got to do New Year's Eve at in Orvieto. So an incredible experience.
And how were the people, if you compare with the American public, how is the European regarding your shows?
It's very different. The European audience is incredibly appreciative of American jazz musicians, particularly New Orleans jazz. I have never felt such love that I've felt than from a European audience. I remember playing in Orvieto, and there was a line outside to get into the show. It's an appreciation. I think we take for granted that we have jazz here in America, especially in New Orleans. We take it for granted. Yeah. We have music 7 days a week. Well, at least we had before COVID. So we take it for granted, and it's not such a big deal. But in Europe, it's a special experience for artists to come in from America, wherever, and to play. And they have such an appreciation. And it's kind of like weird a little bit because they're very quiet and they're listening intently. And I'm trying to get them to like interact with me, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I should do that." So I'm trying to. It's interesting, but I know that they love it because they are very appreciative, and they come back night after night to see me. So I got to say, the European audience is nothing but wonderful when it comes to their appreciation for jazz music.
Yeah, they have this classical way of maybe going to concerts where you go and listen carefully.
It's very quiet. It's very they're listening. They're not talking to each other. Come on, it's a different experience, of course. With the American audience, there's a sort of a laissez-faire, and that's fine. It depends on the club you're in, but of course you can talk. But if you try to talk at a European show, you will get shut down. People will be like. They're like, no, be respectful.
And let me know about Mexico. How is Mexico?
Oh my godness. I said godness. Oh my goodness. When I arrived to Mexico City to do my first show, it was when we did the spiritual show in March of 2000. What was it?
2017, I think.
First of all, I'd never been to Mexico City. So really, I didn't have any preconceived notions of Mexico City. I was just open to the experience. And when I drove in, it was all of this color and beauty and art. And then when I came to my first rehearsal and I walked into this packed room of about maybe 80 to 100 singers, ages 8 to 70. And they sang, and I literally was like, and the singers were so talented. And Aquiles as a conductor, first of all, I was just blown away by their musicianship, by their kindness. They welcomed me with open arms. It was like I was their friend and they had never met me, but I was delighted to be welcomed into a community of singers, a community of a family, a new family that I have now. And the children,
they loved you.
And I love them. I wanted to just hug them all. And some of them were funny and they wanted to say, the children, I mean, I'm getting a little emotional right now because it was such an emotional experience to be in this beautiful city, to be in Mexico City with these talented, beautiful people, and to be in a place where I could embrace what I do and to share it with another culture and another community. And I want to thank you for that opportunity because I remember I had a moment backstage, and this was the first show. This was the first time I was there, so I didn't sing on Hallelujah. It was just the choir. That was the opening song, and I was backstage and I started crying because I realized, and I thank God at that moment because I was like, I am realizing a dream. I've never had this experience. And when the doors opened to the theater, it was packed. And I was received with such grace. And I was just so grateful for that moment. It is one of the highlights of my musical career.
I know, it was such a beautiful moment. Also for everybody in the choir, for me to have you there. It was like a mutual, like artistic moment, very, very special, where everybody gave their very best.
As a singer, and singers, comment if you've had the same experience too. I'm a choir girl. I've sung in choirs my entire life, and I've done opera and choral singing. But to be a soloist in front of a choir, a mass choir, and this is a mass choir, it's to have those voices surrounding you with love and positivity, and then to have your voice within that, it pretty much completed any experience I ever hoped to have as a professional singer. That completed it. So if you ask me, like, look, I'm happy. Miss Anaïs St. John is happy because I had that experience. And thank you. That was
such a nice thing. Well, it's open and it will go on. We just need the COVID to go away and we're ready.
Go away, COVID. Go away. Is it that easy?
Okay, so we have a very weird thing. I don't think I will answer to that. So, very strange. So, I wanted to watch and listen to one of your Italy experiences.
Yes. This is, I believe, Ascona?
Yeah, let's watch that. Next video, please, Joshua.
Shines upon our caravan. Sleep upon my shoulder as we creep across the sand, so I may keep the memory of our caravan. This is so exciting. You are so inviting. Shores of you, beside me here beneath the blue, our dream of love is coming true within our desert caravan.
how much fun was that? Wait. It's because your mic. Sorry, mic was muted. Can you start?
I want to say how privileged I've been to work with the caliber of musicians that I've had the opportunity to play with here in New Orleans and in Ascona and in Orvieto. I mean, I don't want to start naming them, but I mean, top-notch musicians. I do want to give shouts out to a few of my piano players: Harry Marone, Mike Esnote, Joe Crown, of course, Mike Polera, Joe Ashlar. And then drummers. The drummer you saw with the eyeliner, that's Simon Lott, Doug Belote, Charlie Coma. I can name more. My bass players, Mark Brooks, Mark was the first person who took me to Ascona. So shout out to Mark Brooks. I miss you very much.
I think it's such an important thing to talk about the team. I really believe in music making when it's a work in a team. I think that makes the magic happen, right? Like you cannot be. Yeah.
I'm not going to be foolish and say you have to build a great team. Come on. That's part of what makes a person successful. And I have surrounded myself with phenomenal musicians. And honestly, I won't work with anyone who isn't phenomenal because they elevate. They are the ones who elevate your game. I mean, the band. I mean, the musicians. They are. Without them, I am really just another singer. I mean, come on, let's be honest.
I know. So we have very, very important people watching. There is a guy called Marco St. John.
Oh, Marco!
He's watching, saying brava.
Marco St. John. It's kind of weird that we're talking online because you're in my house and I love you. Can I tell you something Marco did for me? Aquiles, it's very sweet.
Yes.
He brought me flowers this week. Unannounced, just a beautiful bouquet of flowers. And it was so sweet. I love you, baby.
That's beautiful. I love love. And also, I know. And we also have a very important person to me and to you called Simone.
Wow, Simone! Oh, you were supposed to be in New Orleans.
I know. She was so sad. We were so sad.
I love you.
So the next part of the interview is so I wanted to ask you about you have been working on yourself, on what we talked at the beginning about watching the audience, about getting to some place to be special when you are on stage. And I also think you have been working a lot on many other aspects, like being strong, like being a woman that goes to the world and succeeds every time, and that you're very sure of yourself and you go and do things. How is it to be that woman? Like, it's not easy, right?
No, and I'm not perfect, and I am constantly working on myself. I cannot possibly sustain the lifestyle I have without help from my family, without help from my friends, without keeping balance. And Lord knows it's very difficult, especially in these days and ages, to keep balance. You have to make sure that you are able to balance enough work with enough play, with enough, like making sure that you're healthy, making sure that you're fit, making sure that and when I say fit, it doesn't necessarily mean physically. It does, yes, of course, exercise is helpful, but I mean mentally, taking care of your mental health. And what that means is taking time for yourself. If taking care of your mental health means taking a walk, if it means talking to someone, if you have a problem, if it means taking a break from whatever is bothering you. And whatever way that break may mean, it's important. You cannot sustain a lifestyle of any lifestyle without balance. And it's hard. I fall all the time. I struggle, but ultimately I keep going back to that little girl who wanted to be a successful singer. And I think I remember my dream. I pictured myself. I was like, oh, when I'm successful, I'll have a penthouse in New York and I'll be on Broadway. And obviously that's not what I have, but I am successful. But what I have needs balance, and it needs care, and it needs, like, I have to make sure that I take care of myself all the time. So that means I take breaks. But it also means that I work hard and I set goals for myself. And if that goal means that I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and take a walk with my girlfriend and then get online and start working and then do what you have to do. And sometimes those breaks mean that you have a glass of wine or you take a long bath.
You need to be very strong also to take those breaks. You also need to be strong to be able to say, well, not now, or...
But strength also means that you can say, I'm overwhelmed. It's okay, because that's strength, to say that I'm overwhelmed and I need a break. It's important to check in with yourself. And if you are overwhelmed, then take a break. And do you consider yourself an example for other women, other girls, like your students, your daughter? Yes. I do, because I'm just speaking from I have a little girl who's 11, and I know she's watching me, and honestly, that's kind of what keeps me together, because I know that I want to make sure that what I'm showing her is positive, and even when I fall, and it's important for her to see when I fall, because she needs to know that it's okay to make mistakes, but she also needs to know that how you come back from those mistakes is even more important than those mistakes.
Yeah. Stand up one more time.
And that is what makes a strong person.
Yeah.
Woman, child, man, anything. Is being able to come back from your mistakes, admit to them, and then moving on and making them better.
Thank you so much for opening about that.
You're welcome.
So we have Simone answering. So Anaïs, love you too, and we'll be visiting you as soon as possible. Yeah, hello, Simone.
Cheers to Simone. Can we
cheers.
Do more wine?
We have to do a big party with wine with Simone also.
Sure.
Let's listen to a medley you sent of you singing. It's, we can see you in happy dancing or slow. Romantic and everything.
Yes, I remember.
Let's watch that. Siguiente video, Don Joshua, por favor, gracias. Vámonos.
And now the star of a perfect evening, Anaïs.
If she didn't roll her eyes, made you laugh, made you cry, always acting very wise, the woman
Beautiful. So let me know, what are your thoughts for the future of humankind now?
Okay.
Difficult one, but
I mean, here's the thing. We are going to have to relate to each other in a different way, you know?
hmm?
We're going to have to really be aware of, we have to, first of all, we have to be safe. We have to wear our mask. We have to make sure that we are following the rules of whatever rules the government has put forward as to, so that we don't spread this disease.
Mm.
But as far as beyond that, I'm imagining that we're going to become more loving, because this has made us realize how much we miss each other, how much we miss being a social people.
Yeah, and how fragile
Yeah.
is life, maybe also
Yeah. And how much we hate being
apart.
secluded.
I know.
Don't you
Yeah.
miss hugging people? I want to hug someone. Hug me.
Uh,
Hug me.
I know.
Hug. Yeah. All I'm doing is virtual hugs. I need a real hug. Don't you want to like hug someone? Don't you miss touching?
I know. I miss that a lot.
But
Yeah.
I think, I mean, obviously this is going to be a huge, and also just, I mean, I hope it brings awareness to what we've done to the environment.
Hmm?
I hope that we are able to come back with the knowledge that we've been killing Mother Nature, and we need to make sure that we make changes, because look at what happened when we were not
I know.
out there, you know.
Yeah. I hope we will get out of it, being a better humankind and
People,
being
better people,
better people.
More
Yeah.
loving.
Thank you.
more
Thank you.
accepting. And the rest of it, all the ignorance, all of the negativity, we gotta push that out. We gotta push the ignorance and the negativity and the hate
Mm.
out of, we gotta push that out, because we don't have time for that anymore.
Yeah, so we decided to put a beautiful song that you just talked about it. Our first single from our last CD. So actually, the first time you came, as Anaïs just told everybody, she didn't sing this song. We made that with the choir, but it was such a beautiful moment that we decided to include that for our second collaboration for this Christmas album. And this was the only song that was not really a Christmas song, but it was such an important thing to have it there. I don't know if you want to say whatever about this time you singing the song before we listen to it.
All I can say is that it's a beautiful moment.
So yeah, let's watch this. This is Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah with Anaïs and John and else.
with a blaze of light and every word. It doesn't matter what you heard, the holy or the broken. Hallelujah, I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but
Well, we're getting to
Wow.
the end. Wow, I know how beautiful moments. And so we're getting to the end of this interview. So I just want to talk a little bit about our future together with the choirs and everything. So I wanted you to tell the audience a little bit about our new project that's being composed and created now.
So we have an exciting new project that is being developed, and what we figured we wanted a way to um, sort of bring together the Latin music and the jazz, and bring together both cultures, and then bring together the choir and what I do as a soloist, but bring them together. So a very unique. This is going to be all original music, and I'm very excited to be a part of this project. Maybe you can elaborate.
Yeah, well, we are doing that with Asael Espíndola, who's been working with me for a long time and who's a great collaborator. And he's writing the new music based already on what we did for the Christmas CD, where he had a very important part in writing the arrangements.
His
Beautiful. But
arrangements
this one,
were incredible, incredibly beautiful.
yeah, Hallelujah arrangement we've just heard was made by him. So we're doing new music with a new text written by also a Mexican writer, a young writer called Ana Rosa. And we're talking about the cultures going together and not dividing, and making music a part of this situation of making people come together to feel
Especially in these times where we cannot get together right now. So this is very important to let the art speak for us, let music. So we're going to create a concert of music where we are able to combine all of the cultures, especially Latin music and jazz and gospel, maybe a little
gospel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, so this is the end. I'm so happy to have been able to talk to you and spend some time together. It was like my small trip to New Orleans.
I know. I love you very much.
And thank you so much for being here. And I hope to see you very soon. And I'm so
Kiss on my
much looking.
cheek. Kiss on my cheek.
And I'm
Okay.
so much looking forward for our next collaboration.
I can't wait.
Good. I don't know if you want to say something to our Mexican audience watching. And
Darlings, I can't wait to be back in Mexico City. I can't wait. Maybe soon. Hopefully soon. We'll see.
let's hope it will be soon. Okay, so nos vemos el siguiente sábado a las 7 de la noche en punto. Gracias.
C'est dans ces petites filles qui danserez vous-même. Là, c'est la maclotte qui sautille, toutes les cloches sonneront.